If you've ever sat in a dingy diner at 1 in the morning, bone-tired and clinging to a cheap cup of coffee, maybe you'll understand how fast life can blindside you, and how sometimes just standing up changes everything, even if it means burning your own life to the ground. That was me, William Carter, hunched over my $1.50 mug at the Moonlight Diner, trying to buy 15 minutes of peace before another security shift. You know, just another night where the highlight was a refill and a nod from the waitress who never rushed me out, even if my boots were tracking rain. Onto her clean linoleum. I picked that place because it sat right between my medical supply route and the warehouse. And yeah, the coffee tasted like regret, but it was cheap. The real draw was the late shift waitress, blonde ponytail, eyes that looked right through you if you tried anything slick, but always polite, always calm. Folks called her Sarah, but there was something about her. Something in the way she spoke and moved, like she was playing it normal, seeing how the other half lived. So, when Clinton Moore burst through the door with his goons and enough cologne to clear the place, I should have just minded my own business. That's what most people did. Clinton was the kind of guy who made money in venture capital and treated people like pawns. 40 smug, dressed like he'd robbed a fashion house, and tonight, looking to cash in some favor or intimidate someone for sport. And that someone happened to be Sarah, or as I'd later learn, Serafina Dawson. Yeah, daughter of Archibald Dawson, the billionaire tech king. Not that it mattered in that moment. Clinton didn't waste time, snapped his fingers, barked an order for coffee, then reached out and grabbed her wrist hard. The entire diner shrank. I saw fear flash in her eyes, quick and raw, and I'd seen that look before, in places far from home, where power could take what it wanted. My body moved before my brain had a say. I stood, not loud, not dramatic, just enough so everyone had to notice. Let go of her, I said, like I was telling some drunk to leave a bar. But there was something under it that made even his thugs hesitate. Clinton smirked, said something about how this wasn't my business, and for a split second, I almost sat back down. I could have kept my head down. I had enough trouble to last a lifetime. But then I looked at her, at everyone else looking away, and I thought about my little girl asleep at home, and what I'd want some stranger to do if she needed help. So, I didn't back down. You touch a woman who doesn't want it, it's everyone's business, I told him, and I meant every word. Of course, Clinton tried to flex, threatened me, told me who he was, that he could buy and sell me. But I saw his hand shaking. His first goon moved, reaching for my shoulder. Old muscle memory took over, a quick twist. And suddenly that guy was eating table, arm pinned behind his back. The other one didn't move at all. Nobody needs to get hurt, I said, my voice calm as church, and finally Clinton let her go. Red-faced and seething. You just made the biggest mistake of your life, he spat, pulling out his phone, yelling about police and lawsuits and how he'd ruin me. I didn't argue. When the cops came, I told them what happened, and a couple folks backed me up, even if the diner's cameras were too grainy to help much. I called my daughter, told her I'd be late, that I helped someone. And you know what she said? Like you used to do when you were a Marine? That one got me right in the gut. At the station, Clinton was already there with his suit and tie lawyer, talking big about damages and reputation. But then Andrea Collins showed up, fierce, smart, the kind of lawyer who'd claw her way through concrete for her clients. Someone from the diner had called her, said a veteran needed help. She believed me, right from the jump. The next day, my life exploded. A video, sliced to make me look like a lunatic, went viral. By noon, I'd lost my job. The company said I was a liability. Property managers stopped calling. People at my daughter's school started whispering. But while Clinton's PR machine painted me as a violent nut job, Serafina fought back. She told her family, her father's PR chief, even her old man himself. And let me tell you, when a billionaire steps in, things get messy, fast. Archibald Dawson wanted to bury it, told Serafina to come home, put her under private security. She refused, said I'd protected her when nobody else would, not because of who she was, but because it was right. Her world didn't get that. In their world, everyone calculated, nobody just helped. Andrea kept digging, found 2 more women with stories about Clinton's wandering hands, and finally, a trucker who'd watched the whole thing but stayed quiet came forward. Marcus, ex-military police, said on record I'd done exactly what I was supposed to do, defended someone, gave the guy every chance to stop. Clinton tried to buy me off with 50 grand and a non-disclosure agreement. I tore it up right in his face. That's when the real threat started, photos of my daughter at school. Our routines online. It was supposed to scare me into silence. Instead, it got the cops involved for harassment. The twist? Finn Turner, Serafina's family's security chief, was supposed to dig up dirt on me, but he found the truth, that I was just a guy trying to do the right thing, raising a daughter, working 3 jobs. He told Archibald the truth. Not everyone has a price. Then came the night of the Dawson Tech product launch. Archibald, the man himself, took the stage, and instead of talking about tech, he told the world about the diner. They played the unedited footage, clear as day, Clinton grabbing Serafina, me stepping in. Right there in front of all those cameras, the police arrested Clinton. Serafina announced a new workplace safety program, dedicated to protecting people like her, and me, and everyone who ever got pushed around. Clinton's empire crumbled overnight. More women came forward. His own investors ditched him. The courts sided with us. And for the first time, I felt like maybe, just maybe, standing up had been worth it. A week later, Archibald Dawson showed up at my apartment, offered me a real job, head of security for their new initiative, good pay, real hours, time with my daughter. I didn't say yes right away. Had to ask my girl, what do you think? She said, I think helping people makes you happy. Out of the mouths of babes, right? Now, every Sunday, I watch Bridget ride her bike in the park, Serafina beside me, laughing like she finally found where she belongs. The Moonlight Diner still serves awful coffee, but there's a new sign on the wall. We stand up for each other here. And sometimes I stand in front of a class, teaching not just how to break a wrist hold, but how to break the habit of looking away when someone needs help. You know, I never wanted to be a hero. I just refused to be a bystander. And maybe, in a world full of people looking away, that's the thing that matters most. So let me ask you, what would you have done? Would you stand up, or just finish your coffee and look the other way? Drop a comment. Let's talk about what real courage looks like, and why we need more of it right now. Turns out, changing your life doesn't happen all at once. Sometimes it comes in a mess of paperwork, awkward first days, and figuring out how to keep moving forward even when your hands are still shaking from the storm you just walked through. That's what it felt like after everything broke open with Clinton Moore. I took the job at Dawson Tech, mostly because Bridget was right. I needed to be useful, needed to help folks, and if I could pay rent doing it, well, that was a miracle I wasn't about to question. The first day on the job, I walked into that glass and steel lobby in my old flannel shirt, felt about as out of place as a dog at a cat show, but Serafina was waiting, all smiles, hair down for once, looking less like a billionaire's daughter and more like someone who'd finally gotten out from under a shadow. Ready to build something that matters? She asked, and for a split second, I remembered her voice trembling. In the diner, the way she tried to keep it together with Clinton's fingers digging into her wrist. Now, she sounded steady, like she'd built a whole new backbone. We set up the Safe Workplace initiative out of a little corner office with borrowed desks and too many sticky notes. Andrea joined as in-house counsel, fierce as ever, pushing paperwork, tracking down leads on harassment cases, teaching me the legal ropes when my instinct was still to just stare someone down until they backed off. Vivian, the PR was who'd once wanted to bury the whole story, ended up being our loudest megaphone. Turns out, she liked a good redemption arc as much as the next person. The first big training session we ran was back at the Moonlight Diner, like coming full circle. I stood in front of a room full of tired-looking managers and line workers, all eyeing me like, who's this flannel-wearing security guy? I told them what I'd learned the hard way, that courage isn't some Hollywood moment. With trumpets blaring, it's just deciding that someone else's pain is your problem for a little while. Sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's just a look, a word, a hand on someone's shoulder saying, hey, knock it off. The real battle's inside your own chest, fighting that voice that tells you to look away. The ripple effect was real. Gwen Parker, the bartender Clinton harassed, came out and told her story at one of our meetings. More women followed. Each time someone stood up, it got easier for the next person. Clinton's trial was ugly, drawn out, but when the verdict came down, 18 months behind bars, court-ordered damages, it felt like the air got a little lighter for all of us. It wasn't about revenge. It was about drawing a line and saying, no more. Life didn't magically fix itself. Folks still talk behind my back at Bridget School for a while. Small towns have long memories and quick tongues. Work at Dawson Tech wasn't all high fives and feel-good moments either. Sometimes I felt like I was translating between two planets, blue collar and billionaire, flannel and Ferragamo. But slowly, things settled. I was able to be home in time for dinner most nights. I stopped counting every dollar at the grocery store. Bridget started sleeping through the night again, stopped asking me if we had to move. Serafina and I got close. Not in some sappy movie way, but like two people who'd survived the same storm and found themselves still standing. Sometimes we'd meet at the park on Sundays, her with a box of cookies, Bridget wobbling around on her bike, all elbows and stubbornness. Those afternoons, I'd catch Serafina looking at us like she couldn't quite believe this was her life now. Real, messy, honest. One day, out of the blue, Archibald Dawson showed up at my apartment. No security, no suit, just a father, awkward, holding out his hand. He apologized for doubting me, for seeing me as a problem instead of a person. Not everyone has a price, Mr. Carter, he said. And for the first time, I thought maybe he believed it. He asked me how we could take this safe workplace initiative nationwide, how we could actually change something, not just check a box. For a guy who'd spent his whole life in boardrooms, that was a hell of a turnaround. The program grew. We started doing trainings at other companies, rolling out new policies. Andrea kept the lawyers honest. Vivian kept the stories in the headlines. And I kept showing up, sometimes as the guy teaching self-defense moves, sometimes just as proof that standing up doesn't have to ruin your life. That sometimes, yeah, you get to watch it turn around. A year later, Clinton was old news, but what we built stuck around. The plaque at the diner still says, "We stand up for each other here." I see it every time I grab a coffee, and every time, I remember the night I almost stayed quiet. Bridget can ride her bike without training wheels now. She told me she wants to be brave like her dad, and honestly, I don't know if I've ever been more scared or more proud. So that's my story, or at least the part you didn't see on the news. If you're waiting for a sign to do the right thing, maybe this is it. Maybe it's not about being a hero, just refusing to look away. And if you're reading this, still wondering what you would have done that night in the diner, well, you'll know when it's your turn. Just don't sit it out. That's all I can say. If you made it this far, tell me what you think. Have you ever had to stand up when nobody else would? Share your story in the comments. Let's keep this going. The world changes one person at a time, and it might as well start with us.